Hello and welcome to my Northern Premier League Midlands Division Review, your weekly home for everything happening in the NPR Midlands. I'm David Garton. I'll be breaking down all the key results from the past week, analysing the big talking points and checking in how the league table is shaping up and looking ahead to the next round of games. Firstly, I'd like to discuss some points that I've seen, transfers I've seen throughout the week leading up to the week's fixtures. So we will start with Basford United. Now, earlier in the season, I did see that Jack Goodman was signed by Mansfield Town from Basford and he's been loaned back until the end of the season. I then saw a post from Mansfield Town that stated that he's now moved on loan to Alfreton Town. So he had scored 7 goals for Basford United. So for Basford's promotion charge, it's going to be a massive blow for them. It's obviously quite a good player, hence the reason why Mansfield Town have took him on. Coleshill Town. We're pleased to announce the signing of Kai Cunningham. The Lacey winger joins from Sheffield Town. Kai's previously played for Chase Town and Boldmere St Michaels. The manager, Harry Harris, had this to say: I'm pleased to have got Kai in. He's different to what we have and was looking for someone who has pace and is direct, and he fits the bill. I first watched him for Chase Town a few seasons ago and then for Boldmere this season, and he's impressed me. So looking forward to seeing him in a Coleshill shirt. So that's another sign of Coleshill Town there. Shepshed Dynamo. So Shepshed Dynamo have signed AJ Doyle, a defender. He signed on a short-term loan from Derby County's academy. Wellingborough Town. They've signed 2 players. So Joey Evans has signed for Wellingborough Town. Getting words out here. He won back-to-back titles with Real Bedford. He brings quality, energy and a real attacking threat to the squad. He's a proven goal scorer with a prolific record, adds real strength to the options there, with the 12 games, well, 11 games remaining now, as he played yesterday, actually. The club were excited to see where he takes them. James Clifton signed for Wellingborough Town. The former Spalding United and Brackley Town midfielder made his debut on Tuesday night in a 3-1 victory against Corby Town in the Hillier Cup. He's also featured heavily already this season with 2 assists. I did see him yesterday play for Wellingborough Town. He seemed all right, actually. So this takes us on to the results from the past week. So we'll start with the midweek action, which was Tuesday, the 24th of February. We had a couple of fixtures. So we had Coventry Sphinx versus Lichfield City. The game finished 3-1 to Coventry Sphinx. So it was Coventry Sphinx that took the lead. I really struggle with Sphinx, who took the lead on the 5th minute with Patrick Zito getting the goal. It was a cross into the box. It found Zito, who stabbed it in from close range. The lead didn't last long. 4 minutes later, Jude Taylor equalised for Lichfield City. So Mansell's cross from the right-hand side into the box eventually found Taylor, who finished from close range. The goal scoring wasn't over in the first half. Brett Lloyd got Coventry Sphinx back into the lead on the 19th minute. A ball from the right-hand side. Foul to Ellis, who laid it off to Lloyd, who finished from just outside of the box to make it 2-1. Coventry Sphinx weren't finished there. In the second half, they put the game beyond doubt when Raymond Poku got the 3rd goal. The ball was into the the ball was played into the box and somehow got stuck in between a selection of players. If you see the highlights, the ball kind of gets stuck around 3 or 4 players. The ball fouled to Poku, who then put it past the goalkeeper from close range to give Coventry Sphinx a much needed 3 points. Then we had St Neots Town versus Shepshed Dynamo. So, plenty of goals in this one as well. So, Niall Prenderville gave Shepshed the lead on the 24th minute. It was a corner into the box and Prenderville headed it back across into the back of the net. So, he headed it across goal into the far corner. And then Finn Ryder scored to make it 2-0 on the 65th minute. There was an attack down the left-hand side. It was passed to Ryder, who struck it from just outside the box into the bottom left-hand corner of the goal. St Neots Town weren't finished there though. They pulled one back on the 68th minute, so only a few minutes later. The ball was played through to Harvey Williams, who got there before the defender and lifted it past the onrushing goalie from just outside the box. So the keeper was just coming out and he got there just before and put it past him to make it 2-1, but wasn't enough to get St Neots any points in their battle down the bottom. So we then go to the fixtures from Saturday, the 28th of February. So we'll start with the AFC Rushden Diamonds versus Coventry Sphinx. So another postponement there. So games are starting to pile up for those 2 teams now. We had Basford United versus Coleshill Town. So this finished 2-1 to Coleshill Town. So Coleshill Town took the lead on the 26th minute. A throw-in into the box, foul to Dunkley, who turned and put the ball into the net. There was no other goals in the first half, but then Coleshill Town doubled their lead with Gio Dainty scored on the 55th minute. A free kick into the box. Dainty got his foot forward first and managed to flick it past the goalkeeper from close range. Now, bit of controversy on who scored the Basford United goal. So it's been gone down as Ned Peters, who scored the goal in the 80th minute. but I think it may have been an own goal. So it was a cross into the box, headed towards goal. I believe it came off Marvellous Anna say his name right, went past the goalkeeper. I think it was going in either way, so I'm not too sure if it was been given to Ned Peters or been given as an own goal, but that made it 2-1 on the 80th minute. Basford weren't able to capitalise or get any more goals, so Coleshill Town's push towards the playoff continues. Bedworth United versus Wellingborough Town. This was a game that I covered yesterday. So this finished 2-1 to Wellingborough Town. A very even game. Not many chances in the first half. Each team got one clear chance in the first half. Kyle Carey had that for Wellingborough Town. And Elliot Parrott, I believe it was, who had the chance for Bedworth United in the first half. But it was Wellingborough Town who went behind when Bedworth United took the lead in the 53rd minute. A cross into the box, Craven headed the ball back across the box, and Monaghan was there to just head it in past the goalkeeper from about 2 yards out. Then the second half came to life on the 69th minute. A cross into the box from the right, and Taylor Fraken was there to tap it in from close range. He just had that foresight to run in and get there right at the edge. It was right on the line, just to poke it over the line to make it 1-1. Just as we thought the game was going to finish 1-1, there was an own goal in the 94th minute. So there's a hopeful ball into the box. Callum Flanagan tried to remove the danger. It came off his head and looped over the goalkeeper, Will Highland, to make it 2-1 to give promotion chasing Wellingborough all 3 points. We then move on to Bourne Town versus Loughborough Students. So, free scoring Bourne Town took the lead in the first minute with Zach Allen, the captain. A ball into the box, headed onto Allen, who put it past the goalkeeper from close range. It was then made 2-0 on the 20th minute when Richard Jones scored. A ball into the box, headed towards goal, came off Jones, went into it came off Jones. The goal was given despite the goalkeeper Webster's protest that Fury was in his way and stopped him from diving for the ball. If you see the replay, you'll see that Fury wasn't really in the keeper's way there, so Jones's goal was right to be given. But Loughborough Students weren't to lie down and just take the defeat. So Connor King got one back on the 64th minute. Shot came in. The keeper, Lakin, parried the ball back out, but it fell straight to the feet of Keane, who scored from close range to make it 2-1, but unable to get anything out from the game. Carlton Town versus Mickleover. This game, another one, was postponed. We then had Long Eaton United versus Lichfield City. That finished 0-0. I've had no highlights to refer to, so I can't talk much about that game. There was no red cards or anything, so it seemed like just a boring 0-0 draw. But obviously good for Long Eaton not to concede because they've been conceding quite a lot of goals at the moment. We then had Racing Club Warwick versus Boldmere St Michaels. Now this finished 2-0 to Boldmere St Michaels. I predicted last week this was finished 2-0 to Racing Club Warwick. So quite a surprising result for me, this one. So Harry Crook gave Boldmere the lead on the 10th minute. Ball into the box from Ealings, who found Crook unmarked. Start again. A ball into the box, found Ealings, who was unmarked, who crossed it into the middle of the box, and Crook was there just to brush the ball past the goalkeeper. We then had some controversy in the first half. Pedro Lima was sent off on the 30th minute. Now, if you look at the Racing Club Warwick's highlights, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So, striker was through. Lima, he does pull the striker down. It was outside the box. There was another defender covering, although there was another striker there. But the referee decided it was a red card. So it was an early red card for Boldmere to put a bit of pressure on them. But they weren't to be deterred. So Kyle Byrne made it 2-0 on the 53rd minute. It was run down the left-hand side, run down the left byline, cut in, kept going, and put it past the goalkeeper. That's probably my goal of the day. So if anyone gets a chance to see that, please check it out because it was a damn good goal. Racing Club Warwick did have their chances. James Harding did miss a penalty in the first half. He hit the left-hand post. And there was also a red card for Racing Club Warwick as well, with James Hancock. It was a crunching tackle. Looks like studs may have been showing. So I think that was quite a clear red card. But it'd be interesting to see it from a different angle, in all honesty. So that finished 2-0 to Boldmere, whose relegation chances have now improving. We then had Shepshed Dynamo versus Belper. That was postponed. We then had another game with a relegation theme to it. St Neots versus Rugby Town. So I've got no highlights to refer to on this one. So I'll go through the goals here. So St Neots took the lead on the 22nd minute to make it 1-0, and Reece Thorpe got the goal. Returning Jamal Adams from Rugby Town, who was a ex-academy player, scored on the 29th minute to make it 1-1. Then Sam Tighe would give Rugby Town the lead before the end of the first half. So the captain scored on the 44th minute. But St Neots weren't finished there. So Robbie Parker, the captain, scored on the 63rd minute to make it 2-2. But then there was a penalty. I think it was around the 80th minute for Rugby Town. So they had the opportunity late on to take all 3 points. But Kane Elliott's penalty was saved by James Goff, and the follow-up was cleared for a corner. So points shared at the bottom of the table there. We then had Sutton Coldfield Town versus Anstey Nomads. Again, no highlights to refer to on this one just yet. So we'll just go through the goal scorers. So Anstey Nomads raced into a 3-0 lead. Corey Grantham gave them the lead on the 3rd minute. Kyle Tomlin then got the second on the 18th minute. Then Ronnie Kokonis, if I said that correctly, made it 3-0 on the 23rd minute. So in the half time, I saw that at half time and I thought, blimey, that's running away with a victory there. But Sutton Coldfield Town weren't going to lie down and take the defeat. So Reece Gibson got one back on the 66th minute. 2 minutes later, James McGrady made it 2-3. So obviously the comeback was on. But then Corey Burke for Sutton Coldfield Town saw a red card in the 89th minute. They were unable to find the equaliser. So that was a well-deserved 3 points for Anstey Nomads with their promotion push continues. So we'll now take a look at the league table as it stands. At the top, Carlton Town remain out in front with 67 points. Their lead's now been cut to 11 points, but do have games in hand as their game is postponed once more again. Anstey Nomads are in second place following their 3-2 victory. Belper's game was called off. So we'll just take a quick look at the top half of the table as it stands at the moment. Let's get it in front of me here. So Carlton Town on 67, Anstey Nomads on 56. Now, they've only got one game in hand now on Carlton Town. So if they win that, they'd be on 59. So it'll be a bit tighter, but they are going to be pushing them, I believe. Basford United on 55 points, Belper Town on 52, and Coleshill on 51. They make up the playoffs. Wellingborough Town sit just outside the playoffs, 4 points out, but they have one game in hand on Coleshill Town at the moment. So Wellingborough with my team, who I tipped to maybe push for the playoffs. So that potentially still may happen. We've got Shepshed Dynamo on 45. Now they've got a couple of games in hand. Mickleover on 45 as well, with a game in hand as well. So it's getting very tight at the top there. I really can't predict this season because anyone down to like 14th with a good run could really get in the playoffs at the moment. You then got Rugby Borough who played 33 games and 44 points. Rushden Diamonds, 30 games, 44 points. So again, games in hand. So as long as the games in hand don't become too much for these teams and they can keep grinding out results, they could really push into that playoff position. Racing Club Warwick got a couple of games in hand, and I thought they might have been a team who could stay in the playoffs. They were there not long ago, but they've dropped down the table on 43 points. So that's kind of your top 11 there. Right, so again, we'll look at the bottom table now. So obviously at the bottom, it's getting tight once more again. So Bourne Town got a huge 3 points against Loughborough Students, while Boldmere got a great win away at Racing Club Warwick. St Neots Town, Rugby Town shared the points. While Bedworth United lost injury time to Wellingborough. So we'll just take a look at the bottom. So we'll go bottom upwards to the middle. So at the bottom, we've got St Neots on 30 points, played 31. So they've got a couple of games in hand, so they can still get out of this. Rugby Town on 33, Loughborough Students on 33, Bourne Town on 35, Bedworth United on 36, Boldmere on 37, Coventry Sphinx on 39, but they've got 2-3 games in hand. Lichfield City really struggling to get results at the moment. They could really get dragged into this if they're not careful on 42. Sutton Coldfield have been struggling as well on 42. Corby Town, they're a bit of a weird one. 13th place, played 29 games. So they've got 2, 3, 4 games in hand on some teams. So their season could really go either way. Still, they could push up the table, down the table. But I do expect Corby Town to kind of hover around the middle now. Long Eaton United, I really thought they were going to really push on recently, but they just can't seem to buy a win at the moment. So they are really struggling in that kind of middle bit of the table. So I think they're not going to get relegated. They're not going to go up. I think they're just going to peter out to the end of the season now. So what do we have coming up next? So there are some midweek fixtures for us to enjoy. Tuesday, promotion chase at Anstey Nomads take on struggling St Neots. Coventry Sphinx take on high-flying Wellingborough Town. Wednesday, we've got Corby Town take on Coleshill Town, who are pushing for the playoffs. Then we have a full round of fixtures on Saturday, where promotion chasing Carlton. We have a full round of fixtures on Saturday. Promotion chasing Carlton Town. My notes are all over the place here. Take on promotion chasing Anstey Nomads. Sorry about Coventry Sphinx and Bourne Town will battle out at the bottom of the table. So 3 points at either team there would be massive. And then we also have Loughborough Students versus Bedworth United, another massive game at the bottom of the table. So we'll just go through the individual fixtures here, and I'm going to give some predictions as well, which recently my predictions are all over the place. So let's see what happens this week. So Tuesday, 3rd of March, Anstey Nomads versus St Neots. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory for Anstey Nomads there. I think their promotion chase is going to continue, and I think St Neots are going to be stuck at the bottom. Coventry Sphinx versus Wellingborough Town. Now, I did watch Wellingborough Town this weekend myself. They're a very organised team. Proved they could do it. I think, need a bit of a spark possibly, but I think they'll beat Coventry Sphinx 2-1. I think Coventry Sphinx is still going to be in trouble there. Corby Town versus Coleshill Town. I think Coleshill Town are going to win this 2-0. We'll then go to the Saturday games, my predictions. So Anstey Nomads versus Carlton Town. I'm going to say Anstey Nomads are going to win 3-1. I think they're going to make this title race exciting towards the end of the season. I've been saying for a while Carlton are going to drop points, which they have done. I think that will happen again here today, on the Saturday, sorry. Belper Town versus Racing Club Warwick. Now, I said 2-1 to Racing Club Warwick, so I made a prediction a couple of days ago. But then Racing Club Warwick are really struggling at the moment. So actually, I'm going to change my prediction. I was going to say 2-1 to Racing Club Warwick. I'm actually going to say 2-0 to Belper Town. Boldmere versus Shepshed. I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw there. Coleshill Town versus Eaton United. I think Eaton United's current form is going to continue to be poor. I'm going to go 3-1 to Coleshill Town. Corby Town versus Basford United. I think Basford can get back to winning ways. They're going to win that 2-0. Coventry Sphinx versus Bourne Town. Okay, bear with me this one. Sphinx, obviously, new management. I think a lot of people locally were quite concerned they were going to struggle. They haven't struggled. They've done quite well. Bourne Town cannot stop scoring. I don't know what they've done there. But whatever they're doing, it's working. I'm going to go for a 3-3 draw. I think there's going to be goals galore. I haven't got a game Saturday. I might go watch that. Lichfield City versus Rugby Borough. Lichfield City, another team who are really struggling at the moment to get a win. I think that's going to be a 2-0 victory for Rugby Borough. Loughborough Students versus Bedworth United. A battle at the bottom. Loughborough have been in good form recently. Performances have improved. Same with Bedworth United. I'm going to say this is going to finish 4-1 to Bedworth United. I have connections with Bedworth United. Maybe that's why I'm saying that. Maybe I am a little bit crazy. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to go with that as a result. Probably not going to happen, but let's see what happens with that one. Mickleover versus St Neots. I think St Neots' poor run is going to continue. I think it's going to be a 2-0 victory for Mickleover. We then got Rugby Town versus Rushden Diamonds. Now, Rugby Town, I thought have had some good players recently signed. They have been struggling. I'm going to go for a 3-2 victory for Rushden Diamonds. We then got Wellingborough Town versus Sutton Coldfield Town. I think Wellingboroug's push into the playoffs can continue. Sutton have been struggling recently. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory for Wellingborough Town. So, if anyone wants to send me any messages, probably abusing me for saying I'm crazy for some of these silly results that I'm predicting, I think some of these will come out. Obviously, I think the 3-3 draw for Sphinx and Bourne might be a bit wild, but we'll see what happens over the week. So that is it for this week's review of the Northern Premier League Midlands division. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure you like, subscribe and share, and don't forget to leave your thoughts and comments below. I'll be back next week to break it all down again, but until then, enjoy the football. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.